If you've ever produced a live, virtual, or hybrid event, you know how challenging it can be to deliver an experience your audience will remember. And now, with remote teams, virtual presenters, and live streaming becoming the norm, it's even easier for crucial elements to fall through the cracks. But that's where Showflow can help. For any event, large or small, online or in person, Showflow is a suite of tools that will help you produce a better show. And those tools are Rundown, Studio, and Prompter. Let's take a quick look at them right now. Showflow Rundown enables you and your team to view and make updates to the run of show, cue sheet, production schedule, or game script in real time. Additionally, our Rundown tool has built-in automatic time calculations which allow you to plan your events down to the second. And with show caller tracking, your crew members can be synced to the director during the show, resulting in no more missed cues or awkward transitions. Showflow Studio will allow you to deliver a broadcast-grade live stream to any online audience while effortlessly inviting in and mixing up to 25 virtual presenters along with screen shares, videos, backgrounds, overlays, and logos. With a dedicated director view, you will have total control of what is seen and what is heard, truly giving you the ability to produce quality content. Lastly, Showflow Prompter gives you the ability to turn any monitor in the world into a teleprompter while being fully remote. That means you can edit, display, and control a teleprompter feed for your presenters without them needing to be in the same room, state, or country. What makes Showflow unique is that all of these tools are in the same platform, meaning you can manage your rundowns, scripts, teleprompter, timers, presenters, and live stream all from one place. And we want to invite you to try it for free today. So take some time to explore the different tools we have, check out our blog to see the different ways professionals are using Showflow, and when you're ready, start a 14-day free trial to see for yourself that a total end-to-end solution for producing events is here. We'll see you on the inside.
Welcome, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to our Rundown and Prompter Basics webinar. My name is Sharif. I'm one of the product specialists here. Also in the background is Brian, who'll be moderating the chat. You might hear from him a little bit, just offering up some questions of yours to me. But if you're asking, hey, you've known of Showflow for a while, and you're asking, why are they saying Rundown and Prompter? Isn't Showflow just automatically Rundown and Prompter? As you've seen from the video, and what I'll tell you now is that we've been busy over the past few years. We've come up with an entirely different product called Showflow Studio. So let me go ahead and share that for you right now. Let's go ahead and share this desktop here. And there we go. So Showflow Studio, entirely different product from Rundown and Prompter. It allows you to produce a virtual event seamlessly within your browser. You can, as you can see here on the left, you can create your scenes using presenter, media, even screen share placeholders. Build out all of your scenes here on the left side. Come showtime, when your presenters come in, by sending them a link, you can control their audio and video, but then you map them to that placeholder. You map their media that they may have shared with you to those placeholders and even the screen shares. And then when you come in, you can dress it up with backgrounds, lower thirds, and all you do is just hit the space bar to go from scene to scene to scene. Super easy. Some use cases for this would be like some kind of event, like a town hall or an all hands meeting, where you would typically default to Zoom or Microsoft Teams for. Or let's say you don't really want to invest in the hardware required for vMix and OBS, or you don't even have that broadcast knowledge. That's kind of like myself. This is super easy. You get that broadcast quality look without that hardware necessary or the knowledge necessary. So that's Showflow Studio. We're not here to talk about that, but I did want to let you know in case you were wondering. Let's go ahead and get started with doing an overview of Rundown and Prompter. So again, like I said, we're going to go ahead and really stay high level. The goal here is to really give you an idea of what Rundown is, what Prompter is, and the situation it can be used for you. So I just started sharing my screen here. If you were to purchase a Showflow license, you would see this. Well, first of all, this is the Showflow environment logged in. Again, this is a browser-based software. And if you were to ask some of the people that answered yes to why they are using Showflow, I think would be probably some of these reasons. One, you don't have to worry about different versions. You're not worried about version 3.4, version, hopefully not 16.8. But if you're looking at Showflow, you're looking at the most up-to-date version. Secondly, it's super easy to distribute to your run of shows. Either you're printing it out. Yes, we still allow PDFs. I know some people think that if you go Showflow, you have to stay on the computer, but no, you could print it out in a PDF, in Excel if you want to. If you have a script, you can print that out to Word, or another great feature called Guest Pass, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then probably everyone gets really excited about our automatic time calculations. You don't have to worry about formulas, don't have to worry about reference errors. So when you get a license, this is what the view you would look at. You wouldn't see Showflow demo events here. This is just our demo deck. You would see your own company name there, whether you're a production company or you're just a company that's doing events on your own. And then you would see your own logo here, but you would see your own avatar there as well. And what you're looking at is right now is our upcoming events tab. So all of the events coming up, whether it's 1 or 15 or however many, would be here. You see that by the date, the start date, or what's really important is that end date. Once that end date comes and goes, this event moves from your upcoming events folder to your archived events. And so that's where that's where you would go for there. And then another important thing is anybody that had access to those events, if they had access to something coming up, then if they had access to something coming up, they could still see those events. But if not, then those users are still are removed from your upcoming events there, and you're good to go there. All right, let's go ahead and go into an event. One thing to know about these events is that it's just like a folder on your computer, and it has all of your run of shows there. So I'm going to click on Cvent Connect. That's just the event that I come up with. It's starting on the 2nd of June, ending on the 9th. I've opened up that folder, and now I see all of my run of shows. So I left my team dashboard, which was here, and I clicked on here to my event dashboard. And then I see all of my run of shows. You can structure this several ways. One way you can do is just have these folders here. So I've created a folder, and maybe you can put all run of show assets for day 1 in here. Same thing with day 2, whether it's the run of show, whether it's a PDF you've uploaded. Yes, you can upload files, PowerPoints, anything like that. You can drag them in here and store them here. There's no limit to the amount of files you can upload. So let's fire up an event here. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create New. I'm going to create a rundown. We'll get into something in a more fleshed out rundown, but for now, just to keep it simple, I'm just going to fire up just a basic run of show. We'll call this GS Day 1. I'll hit Create. It pops up right here in my run of show. I'll click it, and I'm taken from my event dashboard to my run of show. Let's give you the lay of the land here. You've got your item numbers here, and then items. You have your timing columns. You got a private notes column. So if you type something in here, no other user can see it. And then you've got your AVL columns. So you can add as many columns as you need. You can even rename these. So maybe I'll call these host notes or something like that. And I want to bring in another user just so you can see some of these real-time updates or even some of the personalization as well. So let's go ahead and bring in this other user. So I've got this user, he's called JJ. So we'll get him into our run of show. Notice he's in the same one, GS Day 1, it's just a different color scheme. And benefit of actually a big difference between Showflow and Google Sheets or Showflow and Excel is that each user can customize their view without impacting someone else's view. So let's say JJ, he just wants to see the lights and that's it. He can move that lights column all the way to the left and hide all of the other columns. And notice how it's not impacting me. Maybe he wants to keep production notes up as well. Well, let's say he wants to go ahead and enter in some info here. So maybe LX 3.14 wants to highlight that as well. Notice how both of us see that, but he still has that custom view without impacting my, my view. All right, let's go ahead and build out. This is, again, simple run of show here. So I'll call this, say, session 1. And we don't need this here. And then we're going to go ahead and call this, let's say, doors open. And let's say this will take about 30 minutes. Next, we're going to go ahead and do an intro video. And this will take 2 minutes. Next, we'll have our host welcome. And this host will do maybe a 1 and 30-second welcome. And then we'll have an intro of a speaker A. And that will take 30 seconds. And then I need another row. So let's go ahead and get that row in there. I'm just using keyboard shortcuts. And then we'll get speaker A in here. And speaker A will talk for 15 minutes. And maybe you want to do some global highlights so your crew can quickly identify what part of the rundown they're in. So maybe all speaker elements are yellow, all video elements are green. Let's run through a realistic scenario here. Let's say you need to swap speakers. Speaker A can't make it, so you need to pull speaker A, or speaker B rather, from session 2. So I can go ahead and do that. I'm just using again keyboard shortcuts to move them around. I can copy and cut and paste if I wanted to. But those are some of the basic features there. Notice my timing as I entered in my time, that advanced my time of day. So it started at 9 a.m. My 30-minute duration automatically progressed it to 9:30. 2 minutes, 9:32. And as you saw me moving it around, it just seamlessly adjusts the time. Maybe session 2 doesn't start at 9:54. That's a weird time. So let's make sure it starts at 11. You can, another timing feature is you can put a kind of a flag in the ground here, tell Showflow, ignore the time above. I want this session 2, whatever this element is, to start at 11 a.m. And so those are some of your basic timing features there. We allow for bulk editing as well. So maybe you wanted to go ahead and move or just copy this entire session here. So here's a little helpful feature here. I'm getting into the weeds a little bit. You can select this, hold down Shift, select the row, the last row you want. And then I'm going to select the tilde key. If you're here in the US, most United States or North American keyboards, they have the tilde key. It's the one to the left of the number 1. And I can do that. It's just like clicking that little circle there, selecting it all. And so I can move that row all at once if I want to. I can go ahead and cut it. And then I can just go ahead and paste it right here and come up with another session there. Sorry, that was cut and paste. I want to go ahead and copy and paste. So let's try that again. Boom, boom, and copy. And then we're going to go ahead and paste it. And then that will go ahead and drop in a new row. Looks like that didn't work. Let's try it one more time. Here we go. We're doing this live here. Boom. There we go. And then that will pop it right there. And I can make that session 3. So there's a lot of advantages there. Sorry, I got into the weeds a little bit. It's kind of turned into a training session there. But I just want to share there's a lot of ways to quickly build out a run of show that you might see that might be faster than a spreadsheet. All right. Hey, Brian, let's go ahead and pause here, see if there are any questions coming up, maybe around real-time updates or things like that.
Yeah, we do have a few questions. The first one is, does Showflow support a MOS workflow? Which I can just quickly answer. No, we don't currently have that integration capability. But we do have a lot of the automated timing just baked into the show, but it's not going to be able to leverage any other MOS workflow. Sharif, trivia, what is the keyboard shortcut for a new line?
A new line. All right. Well, if you're on actually, I'll just show it to you right here. If you're in Showflow, you click this question mark here, and it will bring up all of the shortcuts. But it is, if you're asking me, so I know I have this cheat sheet up here, but it's Command Shift N, or sorry, the down arrow key. If you're on a PC, it's Control. But if you want to go ahead and say new line, or sorry, I think it'd just be new row. So you can go ahead and add a row. There we go. Add a row above or add a row below. But all of these shortcuts are here. Most people learn probably 3 or 4. I know that this list here is kind of a lot, but once you learn 3 or 4, it makes navigating pretty easy.
Awesome. So we had a couple of questions around the timing format. Can you customize the time display view to always show hour, minute, second? And the answer to that is yes. You can adjust the format of your start time and your duration time. We have a few different options. That's back out on the event dashboard underneath the settings for this particular show or rundown that you're in. And another question on the timing is, does Showflow also back time as well as front time? I'll let you answer that one, Sharif.
Sure. Yes, you can do that. It's an advanced feature called reverse auto time, where instead of setting your start time here, you can say, all right, I know my session is going to start at this time, but there are some elements above that I want my crew to know of. You can go ahead and kind of put that flag in the sand and say, Showflow, calculate up. So when I change my duration, it won't affect my start time for my session, but it will impact the rows that precede it. And then that works again, where if my session is delayed an hour or something like that, I can push that back an hour. Maybe it's not 9 a.m., but it's 10 a.m. It will automatically adjust the times that preceded as well.
Awesome. I think that's the questions on the timing. Let's jump over to, well, one other thing to mention there is you can adjust the time zone as well for the show, which would obviously impact the clock up in the top right corner there as well. We have a question around security. How secure is the data? We have proprietary internal corporate shows, the content of which we don't want revealed until the show executes. So that's just going to be managed with your allowance of crew members or other users into the software. So you can control who has access and when to those shows and the rundowns. In terms of the data security on our servers, we're leveraging AWS. So we have a lot of very sensitive data in this system across a wide variety of different customers, ranging from government to financial organizations. And so we take the security of your data very serious.
And I would add, yeah, that's kind of like knocking on the door of an enterprise license. So again, if you have more questions, InfoSec review, things like that, schedule a call with us and we'll walk you through that procedure.
Yeah. Let's see. A question. Yes, we are recording this demo and we will be sending it out to everybody that's registered. So you should be getting an email later today or tomorrow with a recording of it. And then I believe the last question that we'll address from now, other than can you print, we are going to be, Sharif is going to be reviewing all of the different ways to distribute this out to various people. A good lead into that is how many people can access or edit a show. Sharif, I'll let you answer that question.
It's up to you. If you purchase a license that that allows for enough users to access this, you can do it that way, or through exporting, you can do it that way as well. But yeah, the licensing, and again, you can schedule a call with us to learn more about pricing. It's really based on how many seats do you want to have access to your run of show, whether it's somebody that could edit everything all the way down to a read-only user, because even a read-only user gets real-time updates and there's a few other features, which I'll show you in a moment. I think that's it for questions. Yeah, I'll pause again and we'll get some of those questions answered. So please offer those up to Brian. Thanks, Brian. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the different views. Actually, let's go to one of our flagship features called show caller tracking, and then I'll be able to show you some of the views here. One handy thing you might not know is that you can access the other rundowns on your dashboard just by hitting this drop-down menu instead of having to go back to the event dashboard. So I'm going to go to just a basic run of show. Let me zoom out so you can see a little bit more. A corporate run of show. This is something that might be in a ballroom or something like that. But I think there's enough in here that no matter what industry you're in, what type of event you're in, you can relate to it. So this one actually utilizes a legend here. for that thing I mentioned, global highlight. That's changing the color of the rail so your crew can quickly identify what you need. Notice this one has images as well. So in this case, you can do a headshot of who the camera should be focused on. Or maybe this is you want a visual confirmation for the screen. This does not trigger anything. It's important to note that. This is more of a visual, a reference for your team, visual confirmation for your team to make sure they have the right graphic up or the focus on the right person. And then you can see that there's also a script in here. Not many run of shows. I haven't seen many run of shows include the script in here, but this is for the prompter, which I'll show you in a moment. But you can bring the script in here. If you don't like your rows kind of that large, you can always hide the script column, just how I showed you on the front end. And again, personalize your view. Let's try that again. There we go. All right, so let's show you this feature, show collar tracking, that I mentioned. Show collar tracking allows you to broadcast your position, kind of put a spotlight on a certain part of or a certain place in the run of show for the rest of your crew. And if they are tracking you, the crew's tracking you, they can see that spotlight. So what I'll do is I'll click track, and now I'm broadcasting my position. You can see JJ, he was in that other run of show, the new one I created, GSD1, and but because he's tracking me, he left that one and synced up with mine. So it's very powerful show collar tracking, that is. Secondly, based on my 10-minute duration, my item runtime has started counting down. It started at 10 minutes and I've already eaten several seconds. You can go full screen, HDMI out to a DSM, confidence monitor, or maybe put it up in a large screen in Video Village. A lot of uses here for this kind of like a speaker timer. And then lastly, this is one of our newer features. It's called over under. It's keeping an over under on your actual element. And it will also tell you your estimated end time. So right now it's 7:12 end time, 7:12 p.m. So that's all that show collar tracking is doing. To move from row 101 to row 102, all I do is hit the space bar. And then it restarts my item run timer, my speaker timer, based on my 15-minute duration. And it logged my how early I tracked out of here. I tracked out of here 9 minutes early. It's logged that already. And now instead of I think it was 7:13, 7:12 start time, it's 7:03. Now let's walk through what it means to go over. So let me just put a 5-second duration in here. Again, I'm just going to hit the space bar to go to the next row. You can see JJ keeping up with me there as well. And cumulatively, I'm at 23 and a half seconds over until I've hit and gone over. My item runtime is turned red and start counting up. And if I stay in here for another 23 minutes, then I'm back on schedule. So that's show collar tracking, very powerful, allows your crew to stay on the same page, whether they're right beside you, or maybe you're doing a virtual hybrid event, they're on the other side of the world. We've heard stories where there have been producers in the middle of lockdown produce a highly involved live stream, and this was integral. He said this was integral to their production, was show collar tracking, because he produced it from the couch in his living room. And then this also works with several views. So not only can you customize your view, but or by hiding columns, you can also choose a different view. So you can do something like a featured view. And this would be helpful for maybe you just want to see one column here, or it's kind of a whoever's doing voice of God and just need to know what they need to say. You've got your run of show here on the left. You've got the whatever is in row 103, the text that's in row 103 under the script column is being featured. And as I track to each different row, whatever text in there will pop up. So there's no text in there, nothing will pop up, but now there's text again. So there's several different views. Another great view for putting up in Video Village is this display view. It zooms in to 4 rows. Again, just like featured view, you pick one column, and then as I track, I'm tracking here on the right here. Let me get this menu out of the way for you. There you go. It will keep up. maybe we're doing rehearsals and I'm saying, okay, let's go ahead and track to, let's see, session 2, identity. We'll go ahead and do that, and this will pick up right where you left off. Maybe Albert's not going to go ahead and introduce this. It's going to be Alan and Alex. And you can see that update right in real time, track to it, and you're good to go. So you can see the engineering involved to allow you to edit, come in and out of edit mode really quickly during showtime if necessary. So that is show caller tracking. Before we move on to the exports, Brian, any questions?
Yeah, a couple that relate to show caller tracking. The first one from Elliot: how do you use Showflow if you need to run several different shows at the same time? So Sharif, maybe you could answer that question and specifically point to you could have multiple show callers all running at the same time.
Yeah, so you can do that. As you can, thanks, Brian, for that question. As you can see, you can choose from several different show callers. It's a permission level, and I'll go out there, go back to the event dashboard and show you, but it's a permission level. So if you have that permission level, you can go ahead and track, and different people can follow others at the same time. You can have several run of shows. So you can run shows simultaneously, whether it's one person, that's a lot to keep track of, or several people under one account. You can go ahead and do that.
Awesome. And then the second question here from Steve Meyer: will tracking record an as run hit time for each event? So maybe you could pop open the timestamps.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So hidden here is a column called the timestamp column. And that just logs every time I've tracked into a row here. So if I were to track in here, it would drop that in there. So let me see if it's in there. Okay, so as soon as I track into there, it drops in. It will drop in one of your timestamps. Looks like I have to turn it on. There we go. So it was turned off. But now when I track into there, it will drop in the timestamp for me. At this time, I went into this row. We activated this item here, and you could even drop a note to say maybe ran too long. At the end, as you track through different ones here, you can go ahead and export that timestamp column into an Excel spreadsheet.
Awesome. Yeah, and then the other note is you can, if there's an element that you have to track multiple times, it'll keep a history of the quantity of times that you've done that particular segment as well. So I think that's it for questions on show caller tracking.
Okay. So we have built out our run of show, and now it's showtime. So how do we get this in the hands of people? You can go ahead. Well, first of all, you can invite people in. I think it's we would encourage it to invite people in to help you collaborate and build this and contribute to your document. So you're not the one source for that rundown. You're not the gatekeeper for that rundown. So yes. Do that.
Okay, go ahead, Sharif. There was a clarification on the question with running several different shows at the same time. Mm-hmm. Just how would you do that within the context of an event? So maybe just point out that you can have as many rundowns within this event as you want to.
Correct. Yeah. So okay. So I guess it's not simultaneous events, but several shows, maybe over the course of days or something like that.
Yeah. So maybe even further on that is being able to duplicate a previous rundown. So a common workflow is if you have the same show repeated 5 times over 5 days, you build out the baseline of your rundown that's going to apply to all 5. And then you can duplicate that right before the point in the road that forks where you're building out unique elements for each of those shows. So that's one way. You also have the ability to save templates in rundown templates in there. But yeah, you can, within the context of an event, you can create as many different rundowns as you want to.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning, but I mentioned, you can have a folder if you wanted to keep things organized. If it kind of got too busy, if you had a lot of shows, create folders for each day. And then you drag day 1 into day 1, day 2 into day 2. And then any files you might upload that pertain to that day, PDFs, PowerPoints, any floor plans, you can keep it organized that way.
Yeah, and Elliot, I see you're saying that these would be simultaneous events. I mean, you can run multiple simultaneous events at the same time and here as well.
Yeah, yeah, you can do it yourself. Might be a lot to manage. So a lot of people just have multiple crew doing it, but you can, as long as you have enough seats to accommodate it, you can run simultaneous events under one account.
If you're the show caller if you're tracking as a show caller, you can only track one rundown at a time. You can't have as one user be tracking across multiple rundowns unless you wanted to drag everybody along with you to each individual show. But I mean, that's kind of getting into the weeds and into how show caller tracking works. I don't know if we need to go that deep.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about sharing this document. So again, if you want to bring them into your environment, go ahead and click the crew tab on here, invite crew, type in their email address, and then assign them one of 4 permission levels. Read only allows you to use the private notes column, customize your view by hiding columns, even put personal global highlights that only you see, and you see real-time updates you can follow along with the show caller. A contributor allows you to edit any column to the right of private notes. So you can't change the time, you can't change any of the items, but anything else that contributor can do. Then you've got admin and show caller. They can edit everything, timing, the rows, anything there. The only difference is show caller can activate show caller tracking. So that's the primary way of getting somebody into and sharing your document. Another way is through exports. So I can go ahead and do a PDF export if you want. You can go ahead and choose what columns you want to have displayed. Maybe I don't want the script column, but everything else is in here. Again, this is going to be your event logo up here, and then your company logo, whatever is on the team logo is up there. If you have no logos, then it'll just be blank. Drop in your page breaks, and then go ahead and preview it and print it out. If you've got a certain settings for different departments, you can go ahead and save those up here in your presets. You can export to Word, maybe just the script column. You want to have a hard copy, you can export just that script column into Word. You can do it Excel, export it into Excel if you'd like. My favorite export is GuestPass. With GuestPass, you can generate a link here, and I'll actually copy this link out and you can email it out. So what I'll do is I'll drop this in the chat here. Here we go. So when you click that, it opens up a read-only PDF in your browser. No login required. But let's say I made some changes here. So let's say we didn't have Dr. Graham, introduce Dr. Graham Ron in here. Maybe it's Dr. Phil coming in here, and it's going to be a video instead. And additionally, I didn't want to share all of these columns. I only want to share, let's say, the script and the images. So I'm going to hide all of my AVL columns here, because this is going to go out to my client and they don't need to be in there. I don't want them in my run of show. Or maybe if you're a company, you don't want some people higher ups to kind of interfere with the show. You just want them to see it, keep them abreast of the information. You can hide some columns. The next time you click that link again or refresh your browser, you'll see all of those changes made. Dr. Phil's in there, the columns are changed. So what this means is you no longer have to send attachment after attachment, PDF after PDF, version after version. You send this link at the beginning or whenever you want people to have access to this, and you just instruct them, bookmark this link. If you ever want the most up-to-date version, click the link. And you can even see the timestamp there. If they want to print it, they still can. Click the download button and print it. But this is a PDF, so it works on a mobile device, works on your computer, anything there. And then with GuestPass, you can share multiple run of shows. So if you click that drop-down menu and click Event Home, you can see we have several different templates. We have esports, broadcasts, in person, we all use Showflow. So we've just put some examples here. You can, and I can also toggle on or off what events I want displayed. Notice how my GS Day 1 and 2 aren't in here. That's because they're toggled off. No limit to the amount of people you can share GuestPass to. Okay, so let's move on to prompter, unless there is any questions, Brian, regarding guest pass.
The question came in from Ray. Each crew member requires a license. So maybe just kind of differentiate between guest pass versus inviting in event crew.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
what
Yeah, thanks. So like I mentioned, all of those permission levels, they take up a seat. The read-only, contributor, admin, and show caller. If you invite them in by clicking that invite button on the crew tab, then yes, they take up a seat. And maybe a good way to differentiate between, do I need them as crew or can they get away with guest passes? Do they need to see real-time updates? Would it be helpful if they could follow the show caller? Would it be helpful if they can use private notes or customize their view? If it's pretty important for them to do that, you need to invite them in. If they can get away with this PDF here that updates anytime they click it, anytime they refresh their browser, then I'm thinking it's safe to say that guest pass would suffice. Guest pass does not take up a seat. This link is just one link for your entire event, so you can share this unlimited amount of times. But anytime you invite someone in as crew, like read only, they do take up a seat. Good question. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to prompter. This is a very simple tool regarding to the ease of it, but it's very powerful as well. So I'm excited to show this to you. Let's exit out of here. The great thing is you don't have to go fire up a new platform or anything. You just change your view. So I'm going to click this eyeball, click prompter view, and there it is. And let's actually go out a little bit more here. There we go. So as you can see here, if I open up this drawer, I have my run of show here. So I can take a shortcut to where I need to go. In the middle is my content. And then to my right are my prompter settings. So I have my text size here, my line height. Maybe I want to make it easier to read, speed direction, prompt width. And then you can, again, you choose the column. There's nothing special about the script column. All this is doing is just taking whatever is in that column and kind of blowing it up. But we want to do the script column here, and you can change some more of these settings. If I want to just use this and HDMI out to a monitor, I can go full screen. You won't know you're in a browser, and I just hit the space bar to scroll, and it's that easy. But let's say I want to send this to a remote presenter, or I want to send this to an iPad that I'm putting in a prompter rig. Then remote prompter is what you would need. I'm just going to hover over here, click remote prompter, and I'm going to copy this link. Just like guest pass, I could email this link. So let's go ahead and do this live. I'm going to drop the remote prompter link. I just dropped the
I think you sent it to the host. Go ahead and move that over to everyone.
All right, let's do that. Everyone. Okay. Great. Let's try that again. Okay, there we go. So there's the remote prompter link. Open it up, and I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to do this in an incognito window. So when you open it, it says, it'll tell you who's controlling your remote prompter, and that would be myself. You click get started. If it's not loading the first time, try refreshing it. Usually one refresh might work. And notice how nothing changes, nothing happens until, or notice that you cannot make any edits. You cannot scroll until I start moving it, because I'm the remote controlling yours. And so if I want to go ahead and change something, maybe it's not going to be dynamically, maybe it's creatively. I'll go ahead and add that content in there. You can see that change. Maybe I just want to take this sentence out. That will update as well. Maybe I'm just going to bail on this. We're just going to say we're going to toss the video here. Yeah, let's add a little formatting here. And there it is. And then once I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and hit the space bar to start to scroll. Down arrow key would speed things up if you're a fast reader. Up arrow key would slow things down or go in reverse here. And that's remote prompter. When you're done, I can go ahead and toggle this on or off if I wanted to. So again, any questions, Brian, from everything I've covered? That's really the high level view of Showflow from rundown and prompter. So let's pause and see if there's any questions.
It doesn't look like we have, well, actually, yeah, Steve just sent a question in. Can the operator scroll with a peripheral such as a contour shuttle? I'll let you take that, Sharif.
Yes, actually we have an article detailing how you can map the keyboard controls, spacebar to stop and start, up and down arrow keys to map to your contour shuttle. So yes, you can do that.
Yeah, and I'll actually just drop that, the link to that article in the chat. We have a very robust library of articles and videos on how to use Showflow, all things Showflow, but also best practices around things as well. So take a look at that. You can navigate to the main page of our Learn library from that link that I dropped into the chat. Other than that, we don't have any more questions on the rundown side of things. So I think that's it, Sharif.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, thanks so much. That's really it for today. Thanks again for tuning in. We actually have one more poll question for you. And this is just if you would like us to follow up with you regarding licensing. So let me make sure I can stop my share. Yeah, so just to make sure if you wanted to follow up on licensing here. Again, if you're wondering, hey, why do people kind of make this the decision to switch to Showflow? It's some of the limitations within Excel spreadsheet, and we'd love to, if you wanted to follow up on some of that, we'd love to talk with you. You can schedule a one-on-one call. We can go into a little bit more in your personal situation on how Rundown and Prompter can help you. You can head to our website for a free trial and fire up a free trial today. We encourage you to use this on an actual event. That's Rundown, Prompter, even Studio. You can use for free, 14-day free trial, and you can sign up for that as well. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. If you have any questions, you can click the blue chat bubble on the bottom right of our website and throw the questions our way, and we'll get back to you. But thanks again for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your day.